And we are back on the Yeah Coach podcast where we encourage you to take action through the testimonies of others. And today I have a special guest, my good friend and mentor of mine. He graduated with a bachelor's degree in psychology with a minor in history. He managed Title Boxing here in Lexington, Kentucky, and he's been with, now transitioned to Orange Theory Fitness here in Lexington, been with them for almost 5 years and risen up to that regional position over 3 studios here in Lexington. I welcome to the mic Adam Price Fitness. Hey.
What's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Good.
Yeah.
I want to say thank you for one being my mentor in the fitness industry. I remember when I passed my NASM exam and the next day came in and took my OTF exam. So like it was big for me. This being my first step, it kept me accountable.
Yeah.
And just thank you for your time for another one. Thank you because I know you're a busy person. We're both busy. We're always doing things, but my goal with this is to be able to encourage people to take action, and I feel like courage comes from other people. I don't dig deep down personally to find courage. I get it from the people that are walking beside me or that have been through the same journey that I'm on.
Yeah.
So like the fact that your testimony is going to impact someone, I'm really excited. First question. You ready?
Yeah, let's get it.
What did you eat for breakfast this morning?
Today is National Donut Day, so I had a North Lime chocolate donut for breakfast. I also had some oatmeal and some coffee, but that donut was delicious. It was great. So, good day for breakfast.
Is that a normal thing? Every day is a donut, coffee?
No, just on some days. Every now and then if I'm splurging, it's okay to have a cheat meal every now and then. But like normally I'll go for like oatmeal, eggs. I'll try to make like an omelet and some coffee. So try to be a little bit, conscientious about what I eat. We can go way back. I was the pickiest eater of all time growing up. Throughout high school, I basically lived off like Tombstone pizza, spaghetti, and then lemon pepper chicken. And that's the only thing that I would eat, and that's the only thing that my mom would ever make me because I wouldn't eat anything else if not. There's a funny story actually. When I was a little kid, my mom thought I liked Brussels sprouts a lot, so she kept making me Brussels sprouts over and over and over and over again. And then one time I was outside, I was like 3 or 4 years old. I was riding my big wheel, and it had one of those collapsible seats, so you could pick it up and you could put it back down, and it had like a little storage compartment, and she heard some rattling in it. I'd been taking all my Brussels sprouts and putting them inside that thing, so it didn't start off health conscious in my mind until like way later on in my life. But I got into college, and I started to open up my food palate a little bit, and I started eating a lot more.
Not until college, though.
Not into college, no. So I started eating a lot more in college. I put on a lot of weight in college, like in a good way. I was working out a lot, but I probably gained like 70 pounds in college. I weighed like 130
Going into
college, and then I came out weighing right around like 190, 200. But that was just for me, like actually eating different foods. But it wasn't all healthy foods. I still had like a high metabolism, so I wasn't really worried about it. But then after college and I graduated and whatnot, and I got more into the health and wellness industry. I was like, okay, I gotta start, putting my money where my mouth is, and or making sure that I'm walking the walk, not just talking the talk. So started eating healthier probably about right before I started looking into getting my NASM and whatnot. So probably around like 24, 25, and it took a minute. Like it's hard going from like, sweets and salty foods and all the things that your body's like, man, I really want this right now. And it's so easy to access in our society and whatnot. So like, okay, I'm really going to calm down and, macro out my diet and whatnot. But probably about like 24, 25 is when I started taking it like really seriously.
That's crazy to think about because a lot of people, like looking from the outside in, they think these fitness people, like they've always been this way. They don't know that they had to develop that as well.
Yeah.
Like for me, in a similar boat, I didn't really eat fruits and vegetables until I was an adult. Like it's just nothing. I grew up on the same things you did.
Oh.
We didn't do tombstones though. We had Totinos.
Hey.
So we had those pizzas and the pizza rolls.
Hey, pizza rolls are fantastic.
And Hot Pockets.
I mean, not a sponsor, but great.
But learning to grow that, did you do that all yourself? Did you have people that helped you with that?
A little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
like you, I had some people that I looked up to in the fitness industry, and just kind of like health wise. At the time when I was looking to become a trainer, I was actually a server at Chewy's here in Lexington. Um, and so one of the people that worked there, they were a nutritionist, and or they were developing into one. They were going through school for it, and we had started talking about like food and what we eat, and like we basically just started talking about the food that we could eat at the place that we worked at. Um, and I kind of was like, okay, instead of getting this giant burrito covered in sauce, I can still like get like some meat and stuff like that I really like, and like maybe eat a salad and like focus more on like eating rice and like whole grains and stuff like that. Um, and I found that like I kind of liked some of the healthy stuff a little bit more than I thought I would. It just took that like that mental shift and whatnot. But it was still tough. I think I grew up drinking Mountain Dew in Shelby County, Kentucky. My grandma used to give it to me for breakfast back in the day. My great grandmother, bless her soul. But it's weird going from that into like, okay, I'm gonna drink water and not have as much like sugary snacks and stuff all the time.
When's the last time you had a Mountain Dew?
I still splurge every now and then. I call my Shelby County trips my cheat trips when I go home. My family has a couple has like 2 fridges at their house, and we've got one's filled with like soft drinks and stuff like that for like the kids and stuff like that. They'll have a couple of those, so like I'll sneak a couple every now and then. But I'm not gonna lie, every now and then I'll get one if I'm feeling feisty or something like that. I try to stick with like water and coffee and stuff mostly.
Okay. What advice would you give someone that was really, they want to make the shift, but nothing, they don't know how, they don't know where to start when it comes to nutrition?
It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It's not like, well, this day I was eating, a Big Mac and, fries and a large Coke, and now I'm just eating, salads or, whole grains and whole wheat bread and all that stuff and nothing else. You can still have a cheat meal every now and then, and it's crazy how your body kind of changes over time. It's not an immediate thing, but sometimes sweets taste too sweet now, and it's like your body's like, hey, we've got all these nutrients that are coming into you, and this is what you want, this is what you need. We're happy, you feel better, and like we just talked about me drinking soft drinks and stuff. Like I won't finish them all the time now. Like I'll be like, okay, I can't handle all this stuff. But it's still like, I think it's more of a nostalgic thing for me to like have that stuff. But it's not like, okay, you got to cut everything off within it. You can gradually reduce it. You can make plans out to what you want to eat and what you want to drink, and that actually helps out a lot. You look at like food prep and stuff like that as like, okay, I have to make all my food on a Sunday or whatnot. Just plan your meals out, plan out what you want to eat, and if you want that cheap meal every now and then, throw it in. But like, just make sure that you're conscious about what you're taking in for the most part.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. Because not everybody, sometimes they get lost. They don't know where to start when it comes to their nutrition. Like they want to go all or nothing. That's how a lot of people will look at it.
Yeah.
Because they want to get they want to get the result that they want ASAP.
Yeah. 100%.
Man. So next question is going to throw it off a little bit.
Okay.
Not sure if you've already listened to a couple. I think Heavens was put out 2 weeks ago. Parker's was put out on Monday.
Yeah.
Have you listened to them at all?
I've dabbled in them.
Okay. Okay. So maybe I'm gonna switch up the question then.
All right, let's go.
Let's see. I don't have another question off the top of my head. Okay, here's one. How does Adam Price view the word success? What does that look like?
So, success to me means like fulfillment. So you're happy. You only get one life. You don't get another shot at it, really. You can have missteps along the way, but you're bringing yourself to a place of enjoyment with where you are. You're fulfilled through your friends, your family, your monetary wealth can be a thing that you're successful in and whatnot. But it sucks if you're rich and unhappy. It sucks if you're poor and unhappy too. but there can always be some like aspect of your life that you neglect and that doesn't make you feel filled and whatnot. So finding different ways to feel like you have, you know, lived a good life in that area, for lack of a better term, is what I would consider success. Like, you're happy with your family, you're happy with your job. I mean, you can have a high paying job and hate it every single day of your life, and that puts a lot on you in your mind, and that's terrifying to me. I never want to go to a job dreading it, and I never want to like wake up and be like, man, I don't want to do what I do every single day again today, and then do it tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, and the next day. So, yeah, it's great to have loads of cash. Yeah, it's great to have like a big house, but having a family, having people that love you and that you care about would be my ultimate success story. So, yeah, just being happy.
Okay, so then with that being said, you know your definition of success, what it looks like for you.
Mhm.
The next question, so it leads me to my next question. Do you, Adam, define your success by what you've done or the things that you've yet to do?
Say that again.
Do you define your own personal success or like who you are as a person by the things you've yet to do and your goals and your aspirations, or the things that you've already done? You can take some time to think. It's a different question.
Yeah.
And I ask the question like it's an either or.
Okay.
But if you want a combination of both, define your own answer.
Yeah, that's how I was thinking of it too. Because I mean, I always I obviously, especially like in the fitness industry and whatnot, it's all about setting goals and trying to accomplish them. So like, it would be silly for me not to think of the future and like think of things that I want to accomplish as like, okay, I want to be successful in this aspect to reach this spot and whatnot. So like right now, I'm looking to buy a house. Crazy time to buy a house and whatnot. But obviously that's a goal, and I want to be successful in buying a house. So
kind of difficult.
Exactly. It's a
it's difficult to get the price you want.
Yeah, no, 100%, dear Lord. Right now, it's a little crazy out there, but still, at the same time, that is something that I look to accomplish. But I wouldn't consider like me not getting a house in like the allotted time that I've like kind of set up for it as like a failure or something like that. That's just like, okay, I didn't make it in this goal. Let's set another goal and try to achieve that. So I'd be like, okay, didn't make it yet. Let's revamp and see how I can do this again and then go through it. And just using that as an example. But like any future aspect or like goal setting, of course, I'd look at like, okay, this is a future success that I could have to make me happy, to make me feel more fulfilled and whatnot. Because, I want a yard. I want to, have a place for like a dog to run around in and stuff, not instead of like just taking them outside of an apartment and stuff like that. And then in the past, like, I don't look back at like the things that I've achieved in my life and been like, okay, I'm successful because I graduated college, or I'm successful because, I talk to, thousands of people every single month and help them with their goals. And that's what makes me successful. That's what brings me up and whatnot. I consider it a success to just be around people and have the opportunity to help them in their lives and whatnot, and to like learn from them as well, and to make connections and build friendships and relationships with people to, just again, further that fulfillment. So in my mind, I'm happy that I've achieved what I have, but I'm even happier that I've met the people that I've met, and I get to, spend time enjoying moments of my life with them. And sometimes that's yelling at them on a microphone, and other times it's, hanging out with them in the lobby, or like, seeing them out, and or like, creating friendships and, seeing how that goes. But yeah, that's what I would say about the past and the future aspect.
I think another thing that you had brought up, that leads to the next question, but more importantly, that one success looks different for everyone.
Yeah.
And there's not one direct route to that success, or one direct picture for that success.
Yeah.
Because it changes over time. The other was of the bits and pieces from what I've heard, what you were saying. It's not always the materialistic things, but it's the experiences and the relationships that you build with people that define that success for you as well, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Hmm.
I don't know if you know this. I'm really like, social and spastic. So like I gotta have like people talking to me and talking to them so I can like, just not just be in my own head the whole time.
I completely understand. I am the same way. If someone's not talking, I go to someone that is.
Yeah.
Or I try to open them up. Um, Often at times, sometimes I am working on trying to open people up, but if
Yeah.
they don't want to talk, I try. Sometimes I don't. To read that as they just don't want to talk and
Yeah.
walk away. Sometimes I keep pushing.
It can be a
Yeah.
hit or miss at times,
Yeah. But I think it's about the effort in it. I think it's
Yeah.
my intention that it's people like us that have that intention. You can see the intention. Even if it does come across the wrong way, we do address that and try to let them know that it's not what we meant, and we'll
Yeah.
do better next time to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So at least the next question is: you looked at whether you bought a house or didn't buy a house as a failure. What does that mean? What does that word mean to you?
So, with that, again, I wouldn't consider that like a failure. I would consider that a revamp. So, like, say I set a goal of like having like buying a house within like the next 3 months, and I didn't get it within the next 3 months. I'd be like, okay, well, let's set up a new goal. Let's see why we didn't get it within this time. Was it just because I didn't, I didn't find the house that I wanted, and I got outbid? I didn't have the down payment that I wanted to for it yet, or I just tried to overstep my bounds and I, maybe spent too much money or something like that. Um, I would see it more as like a reset, not a like, okay, now I have to go back and beat myself up for doing this. Be like, okay, well, here's how we do this and accomplish it in the future instead of going and failing.
What does that word mean to you?
Failure. Oh man.
I only ask because people have such a negative relationship with it.
Yeah. Have you seen the first Batman?
The first
Well, not the
Batman?
firse Batman, the first like Christian Bale
Yeah.
Batman. Okay. So there's a line in it, it's right after Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, blows up his house. Spoiler alert if you guys have not seen the 2005 Batman Begins film. But he blows up his house or catches on fire, and Christian Bale, who's Bruce Wayne, who's also Batman, if you guys didn't know that, is sitting at the bottom of like this elevator shaft, and Alfred, his butler, comes over to him, and he's like, "I was supposed to help the world. I was supposed to like do all this thing." He's really sitting in this self pity and whatnot. And Alfred goes, "Why do we fall?" And he just kind of looks at him and he goes, "It's so we can pick ourselves back up." And so when you think of like failures, or if you think of like things that you didn't achieve in your life, at least for me, I'm like, okay, well, how can I change it so I don't not fail, but like, so I don't like just stop and whatnot. I think a straight up failure would be to just give up on an aspect that you want. And I don't want to see that happen in my life, because if I have a goal, I definitely want to achieve it. So there's different ways to do it within reason. I'm not going to be able to flap my arms fast enough and like fly outside. If I had a goal, I would probably definitely fail at that. But like, reasonable goals, achievable goals and whatnot, I would like to always be in the mindset of, if I didn't do it this time, here's how I can change and do it. But failure to me would be like, you give up, you stop, it's over, and I don't want to stop.
Failure would be quitting.
Yeah.
And stop moving instead of trying something different.
Yeah. Stagnation can kind of be in that too. I always say like if you're stagnant, you're dying, or like if you're complacent.
Not moving.
Yeah.
Okay. So with this, not only do I want to inspire people to take action in life through the testimonies, but I want to inspire inaction if they're doing something that's not benefiting them towards their goals. In a job they don't enjoy, in a phase of life they just don't want to be in, but it feels comfortable or it feels good because it's comfortable. They're afraid to try something new. What would you say to someone that just is afraid of change?
It's afraid of change.
Afraid of change, afraid to jump. Because the question is coming from a person that thinks very logically, that thinks very fact-based, and that wants a lot of evidence and information before he takes that jump.
Yeah.
That would be me.
Okay. I mean, taking a jump is a risk, and like any risk is scary. But you don't really achieve anything if you don't risk something, whether that be time, whether that be money, or your well-being can be it. And sometimes sometimes you got to grind to do something. Like sometimes you're gonna stay up a little bit later to accomplish something than you normally would. Heck, if you're doing an exercise, you always risk pulling a muscle or something like that, and you don't necessarily know when that's going to happen. You can do all the things in the world to prep for it and make sure that something bad's not going to happen to you, but there's always going to be some like outlying factors. There's always risk with anything. It's just like, how much of a risk are you willing to take the goals that you want? Like if you're, like what you said earlier, if you're stagnant and you're in a job that you just feel stuck in, and you're worried about putting yourself out there for another thing and whatnot, that causes stress on your body, and it's a risk factor to stay stressed all the time. I mean, there's elevated levels of or you have a higher chance of having stroke or heart attacks and stuff like that if you're just stressed out all the time. And if you find yourself constantly stressed, trying to figure out between jump and that leap, I would assume that stress that builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and builds would eventually be more of a risk factor than seeing what you could do. And if you're unhappy, why stay in a spot that you're unhappy? Again, and I guess that kind of ties back to me talking about what success is to you. If you're unhappy, why are you doing the things you're doing? So if you really feel like you would do better with something, why not do better in something? And again, it could be like a gradual thing too. Like we talked about it earlier. It's not like, okay, well, I'm going to go quit my job and go try to be a pilot right now or something like that. If you really wanted to fly.
They need them right now.
Yeah, please. I got some vacations I got to take later on. Please do not have any more pilots, shortages. Again, taking some time out of your day, or really assessing, where you are right now in life and what you can do to get towards something that would make you happy and, healthier and better, or whatever you want, is always going to be better than just sitting down and doing the same things over and over and just getting more bogged down with thoughts of unhappiness and sadness and getting depressed or anything like that. So, gradual steps, if you're that crazy to just jump into it and try to do it, great. But again, gradual steps towards the goals that you want to hit. It doesn't have to be too scary. Small risks.
Baby steps. Yeah. Small risks.
Baby risks.
That's interesting because it's the same kind of mindset that people have with other things, like that they should have with fitness or with eating, or with even rising up in a community or rising up in a company. But when it comes to their own personal life, they do take that all or nothing type of mentality.
Yeah.
And I personally don't think I've ever thought about it as incremental, baby steps towards change.
Well, think about the things that you've done. When I met you, you were working at Carrabba's and you wanted to get into the fitness industry. You sent me an email about it, or not about Carrabba's, but you sent me an email about wanting to look into fitness. That's a baby step. That's you looking into something. And then we sat down and we started going over it. And then you started getting into I believe you started looking for your NASM then, or you had already looked into it. That's another step. That's not the full thing. And you were still working at that job, but you were still looking for fulfillment and going through it. And then now you're, coaching at 2 different studios, and you've got, your personal training and stuff going on too. So you've taken baby steps to get in your fitness career. You're in a fitness career now. So that got you there, but it didn't happen right overnight.
You're absolutely correct on most of that. The only thing that I would change is that for me, all that happened really quick. Those, in my opinion, were big jumps for me because slow to do things.
Yeah.
Unless I know 100% I got this down, no, I need time.
Yeah.
Because I was never that person in school that got things quick. I failed almost every test, but I did almost all the assignments and homework great
Yeah.
because I had my own pace to do them. And I was like, when I'd reached out, I took the class and you'd went over things, and then I think it was like a week later, you asked me to come in for an interview. And I was like, all right, cool. And I remember going back to my mentor, and I was like, I don't have my LinkedIn resume like made or nothing. He's like, all right, let's do it. So
Yeah.
I made my LinkedIn resume and did that. Came in, and you're like, all right, well, I really like you. I'm gonna get you started. And I was like, I haven't even passed my NASM thing yet, and I was just like, all right, I gotta do it now. Like, this is gonna make me jump. Like, it's gonna push me.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that it did, because I've grown so much just from this entire experience that I now know what I'm able to do in the future even more. Like, I can handle more as a person because I tested myself through this here.
Cool.
And this is pushing me even more as I grow in what I'm able to do and what I'm able to take on. I'm wanting more. Like, it creates me accomplishing more, makes me desire to want to do more as well.
I love to hear that.
So like that, I'm glad, even though you thought it was like little baby steps, for me, these are huge moments.
Yeah.
Like, this has only been 6 or 7 months of my life.
Yeah.
Like, this is a short time frame that I've accomplished so many things that I put on my my bucket list throughout my life.
That's awesome.
Like, this is big. And I want to keep that momentum, but I also know that things take time.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with slowly growing as a coach, as a person, as a personal trainer in the industry, to learn more and do more.
Yeah.
Hoping to expand on that. My next step, although I'm still learning so much right now, is nutrition.
Yeah.
I need to get a better understanding of what to put in the body and not just what to do with the body.
It's that 1-2 punch, baby.
Yeah. I think we're getting towards the end of it here. I think I have a couple more questions.
Yeah.
My thing is, with people like me, hearing my story, you just heard 2 different perspectives on the past 6 or 7 months.
Yeah.
Since you know, from my perspective, those were big jumps, what would you recommend to someone looking to get into the fitness industry, even if it's not just Orange Theory, they just want to like start training, but they don't know where to start. They know they're not gonna have clients right off the bat, like, because it's very tough at the beginning for a one-on-one personal trainer to build up clientele.
100%.
Where would you recommend someone, either one, wanting to start their personal training or fitness industry job, 2, wanting to start their fitness journey? Like, we want to make a change. Go ahead.
So, sorry to cut you off.
You're
so good. With the first part, if they're looking to start like a career in fitness or anything, and they're like, who am I going to train? Who am I going to, like, nobody knows who I am and whatnot. Okay, so I can tell you what I did. So when I got my cert, and when I was training, I used my friends as guinea pigs, like, straight up. I was like, hey, I want to be a trainer. I'm going to train you, and in return, you don't got to pay me. But tell your friends, let people know about this, because one of the best ways to advertise yourself is word of mouth. Eventually, definitely, like, if you're really getting in the business and you're really trying to advertise yourself, Instagram, Facebook, all this stuff, you're trying to, like, put up ads or whatever you want to do. But train your friends, because not only will they, like, listen to you and be there for you in those moments, but if you have a misstep, you're probably not going to get as as beat up as, like, somebody who's paying you all this money and has never met you before. They'll give you a little bit more grace. At the same time, make sure they're not hurting themselves. Don't hurt your friends. I remember, I don't know if I should say this, but when I first trained, when I first started training, I went to Workout Anytime, and they would allow you to, like, bring a friend with you and whatnot. So I would, like, work out with my friend, but I was really training them and whatnot. This is like 7 or 8 years ago. I hope the CEO or the higher ups at Workout Anytime are not watching this. But I would do that, and I had my first, like, couple clients doing that. I would go in and do that. And they probably thought I just worked out constantly. So you can do that, or you can find different aspects or different ways to train people. Like, it doesn't always have to be about, like, just getting big dumbbells and stuff like that. You can, like, find space outside and build up that way too, if you're looking for, like, an area, if you're worried about that. If you don't, like, say you don't like you're in a new area, you don't really have any friends or like family that you can do or train like that, then you could go the box gym route, and they would provide clients for you. Um, so just get your feet wet. Find some people that like you and train them. For the health and wellness side, again, just gradually get into it. You don't have to just go cold turkey and eat like just straight up apples, bananas, and broccoli, and lean chicken every single day, and chicken and rice all day long. Dear Lord, I did that for a little while. That was probably the toughest part. But when I was like, okay, maybe I'm eating a little too healthy right now, and like I'm not enjoying my meals. There's still like that enjoyment that you want to have out of it. But just gradual steps with it, like your nutrition and your fitness. Like you don't have to go to like a gym and just start like trying to PR every single time. Like get your body moving. Start with like if you've taken NASM and like you've looked at their steps to like it's been so long since I have it, but like you start off at your base with a balance and stability. Basically, like if you talk about like OTF stuff, that would be like endurance stuff over here. You're trying to balance. You're trying to make sure that you can handle the range of motion of the exercises and really find out what your body can actually do and get that range of motion increased. Start there. You see so many people go to gyms and they're just like lifted heavy, and that can be super intimidating, especially if you've never done it before. Don't worry about what other people think. Most people that are at the gyms are just looking at themselves anyways. So like, don't freak out about like, other people being there. Just again, you can start with baby steps and get into it. Have rest days. Don't go 7 days a week. Do not destroy yourself with it. Put yourself into it, work out, feel a little sore, rest, do it again later on. And make it a habit. Don't give up on yourself.
What wisdom.
I don't know if anybody should ever call me wise, but
there are people that like that need to hear that, like that probably hit them. They're just thinking, they're sitting from listening to this, and they're just like, I'm gonna take a baby step today. I'm gonna take that step tomorrow. I'm gonna make that change right now. Or they're currently listening to this, or they're eating some candy or eating some chips, and they're like, I'm gonna put this one chip back, and they're gonna make that change. Even if it's just that little one, you can kind of get that ball moving. One of the best, well, this is probably one of the best examples of that. I heard one of my mentors that told me, lower your bar.
Yeah.
Lower your bar. Like, what does that actually mean? A lot of people think they lower your standards or lower your goals. He doesn't mean it in that way. Like, lower your bar as in there's something that you could do, something that you would do that would equate to an actual improvement in your life, but it's too little for you to make that change, so you won't make it at all. He made an example. You have a kid, and this kid has this range of skill. You're going to give this kid a task that's just outside that range of skill, but gives them a slight probability of them actually doing it.
Okay.
That you can look at yourself as like that. You can give yourself something slightly outside that range, but you have a probability of actually achieving it, so you can strive for something a little bit higher. You can increase your skills. You can increase what you're able to do. And if you can slowly start to add to what you're able to do, you're able to make those smaller improvements. Lower your bar. Now, that doesn't mean don't aim high or don't aim up.
Yeah.
But lower those high expectations that you have for yourself or even the people around you.
Yeah. I mean, that can also like, build up into something too. Like you could have like a high bar goal and like have all these like steps to get up there and stuff too.
Yeah,
so I like that
as well.
It's cool.
Man, well, thank you.
Yeah, man.
Like this has been big. Get to peek a little bit more about what you've done. I feel like I knew, but I forgot. I thought you had like went to school for like kinesiology, exercise science, all these different things. There's like no psychology and history, and then you graduated, and then you started your fitness journey. That made me think like, dang, I'm not too far, because I feel like everybody in like these bigger industry companies, whether that be Esporta or OTF or Cycle Bar, all these big places that like everyone's got all the accreditations. They've got all the background that's perfect.
There's a bunch of people that don't go that route, and and sometimes it's about figuring out what you're passionate about later on. I went to college wanted to be a psychiatrist, and I always wanted to help people. I just found a different way to help people, and I've always been sporty and athletic, so I was like, okay, I love doing this. I love doing this. Let's put them together. So, it just took a little bit longer for me to figure it out at first, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
A lot of people, they don't know that. They think they have to start and finish where they started.
Again, got one life. Don't
Yeah.
spend it doing something you hate.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I do have to end it how we always end it.
Oh gosh.
We are coaches at OTF, so coach is just going to be in the name. This podcast is called Yeah, Coach. You say it when you're like, it's a sign of enthusiasm, a sign of excitement. You just beat someone in Madden, or you talk to a girl you're uncomfortable talking to. It's like a hell yeah. So it's kind of like a hell yeah. So we got to say at the very end. We can back up from the mics as we say, because we don't want to like burst the mic.
Okay.
But on the count of 3, you ready?
Yeah, let's see.
So say yeah, coach. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, coach.
And that wraps it up. Thank you all so much for listening. I'll see you all next time.